So we decided to do drinking and driving, and just some background information. Adults drink and drive are reported 121 million times per year, which amounts to over 300,000 incidents of drinking and driving per day, which in turn leads to over 30 deaths per day. And we have a plan to hopefully bring these numbers closer to zero.
So in 2014, about 10,000 people were killed in alcohol-impaired crashes, and this accounts for 1/3 of all deaths related to automobiles in the United States. And this is because alcohol impairs the senses and clouds judgment, and it interferes with the communication pathways in the brain, and this results in impaired vision, reduced reaction times, and concentration, and that's all of which you need to operate a vehicle safely. And the people who are affected are not only the drivers in the vehicle, but the passengers in the vehicle and the people crossing the street and in the other vehicles as well. And of the 209 child passengers ages 14 and younger who died in alcohol-impaired crashes, over half of them were in the vehicle with the driver. And this is kind of like a PSA, and it's one of the many ways that companies try and get people not to drink and drive.
Julie.
Very nice. Cheers. Talk to me. What's your first name? Just keep looking straight ahead there.
There's no dad. There's no way it should be that scary.
I'll never see her again.
When we get going.
Yeah.
Never hear her voice.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Hear her laugh.
Take care of my baby girl.
I'll never see her get married.
Sure you don't want me to drive?
Oh well, I've only had a few. Besides been eating your mum's food all day.
Cuddle her children.
Where is she?
I'll never hear her call me dad. And I'll never forget having to choose a coffin. For my beautiful baby.
And so it allows for those living before and from that year to qualify for temporary status. That is, if they behave to follow all the laws, it must be a 1 hour.
Okay, some opponents of reform are repeat offenders, and they believe that they're invincible when they drink and nothing can ever happen to them, and that's never going to happen to them. And alcohol influences judgment and decision-making skills, and in our bodies we have chemicals called neurotransmitters, and alcohol causes the signals to not be fully delivered, which are then in return messed up. The frontal lobe is the front part of your brain, and it does all of your decision making. And when you drink alcohol, it largely impacts your brain, which is specifically your frontal lobe, and it causes terrible decision making, which is drinking and driving. And the opponents of drinking and driving are impacting the problem by continuing to go out and then get behind the wheel and drive themselves home. And this is just a simulation of what it's like to drink and drive.
You're really concentrating to stay there, aren't you? Do you think you'd be able to do that concentration if you were drinking?
Not at all.
Students at Hampshire High School struggled to stay on the road recently when they sat behind the wheel of a simulator that allows the driver to experience what it's like to operate a vehicle while impaired by alcohol. I'm Greg Larry reporting for HampshireReview.com. The Alcohol Beverage Control Administration, or ABCA, based in Charleston, brought a trailer to the school containing a driving simulator last Thursday and Friday, April 7th and 8th. The simulator educates students on the hazards of driving under the influence by letting them feel the difficulties that come with operating a vehicle with an elevated blood alcohol content.
You'll feel the steering change in the curve.
I'm a little drunk right now.
The simulator emulates the blurring of vision and sluggish reactions by causing the brakes and steering to imitate the lack of control experienced by an inebriated person. Beginning with a 0.02 blood alcohol content and slowly raising it up to 0.08, which is the level all 50 states consider as DUI, or driving under the influence. The driver of the simulator can experience firsthand how difficult and dangerous it can make driving.
It's going to take longer to slow down. Now you're at 0.4, that's your BAC. The simulator's making changes to the steering and the braking. Now, how much concentration are you having to use to stay in that lane? Do you think you'll be able to do that if you were drinking or driving?
Probably not.
With its 3D graphics, rear view and side mirrors, and wide field for peripheral vision, the simulator offers a realistic experience for the driver. Student Andriana Haynes was trying to keep the wheel under control here, while facing the challenges created as blood alcohol content increases. How difficult was that?
That was horrible.
Valued at $90,000, the simulator was obtained by the ABCA through a grant from State Farm Insurance, along with funds from the Governor's Highway Safety Program. The ABCA hopes the program will educate students on the risks involved in driving under the influence, which run from a criminal record, loss of license, difficulty obtaining insurance, and destruction of property, to the devastation of injuries and fatalities. I'm with Andriana Haynes. Andriana just came out of the simulator. Andriana, what did you learn from your experience today?
People should not drive drunk. It's extremely dangerous. They just shouldn't do it at all.
What was your experience as your blood alcohol content increased while you were behind the wheel? What was that like?
It was really hard. The higher my blood alcohol content went up, the harder it was to do anything, and the more things I hit.
Currently, there is a lack of real estate and there's a backlog of reports. So how do you understand
Okay, so kind of like a brief history of drinking and driving. The first drunk driving arrest was in 1897, and that was from a London taxi driver who crashed into a building. And because of this and continuous other accidents, Dr. Rolla Harger invented the drunkometer, where you would breathe inside a tube to determine if you're intoxicated. And this later evolved into the breathalyzer in 1953, serving the same purpose. And these solutions are effective, but drunk driving remains a big issue in today's society. People continue to drink and drive because alcohol causes a person to make quick judgments without reason or the thought of consequence, and their ability to rationalize is suppressed, and that leads them to make rash decisions, and one may think they're okay to drive, but the alcohol makes them overconfident without realizing their true level of intoxication.
Okay, and then we have two plans. The first one's really straightforward, and it's to always have a designated driver, and this will ensure that the people or the person who drank will not be driving themselves home. And the second plan, we came up with a new law, which is that everyone that is going to drive themselves home has to pass a breathalyzer test that's built into their car, and the breathalyzer will ensure that the car cannot start if the person's blood alcohol level is too high, and this will help to decrease the amount of drinking and driving. And then we have information from a survey that was taken this summer from July to August, and randomly selected volunteers were given a breathalyzer to use along with an app, and they used the breathalyzer to test their blood alcohol content before driving themselves home. And once it tested their BAC, the app told them if it was okay to drive home or not, and if it wasn't, they were given the option to order an Uber or a Lyft. And the results were largely positive. Prior to the survey, 80% of people admitted to drinking and driving, but after the survey, it went down to just 12% of people driving themselves home.
And as a result, drunk driving is one of the leading causes of accidents, and though laws are in place, their effectiveness is questionable because it's such a big issue that still exists today. And we believe with our plan, we will not only make people more aware of their condition to drive, but save lives as well.